We say what's going on, everybody. Christian Ballard Sports Media coming at you with a video today looking at the national runner-up, the TCU Horned Frogs for 2023. And let's start real quick, though, and we review their schedule from this past season. What they did was incredible for a first-year head coach in Sonny Dykes to get his team to the national championship, win 13 games, win a Fiesta Bowl. Pretty incredible. You kind of wonder, getting to the national championship, how does it get better than that for Sonny Dykes and TCU as a guy like Max Duggan leaves, as Quentin Johnson probably going to the NFL? How does it get any better for the Horned Frogs? Well, folks, gotta tell you, it can. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. They got to win a national championship. I talked about, in my preview video for that game, how it had been 86 years, going back 8 decades, since the last time they won a title in college football, but still at the same time, not really major in today's world. I mean, it's basically irrelevant. TCU's not a irrelevant program, though. What they did last year was phenomenal. They beat teams like Colorado, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, Baylor. Their only loss prior to the Natty was an overtime field goal to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. They beat Michigan, took them to the wire, 51-45. Incredible Fiesta Bowl. I think that and the Peach Bowl had to be the two best college football playoff games that we've had since the start of the CFP. That's for certain. Let's, I guess, go ahead and get it out the way, right? 13-2, national runner-up, Fiesta Bowl champs. Let's go ahead and take a look at their schedule for this season in 2023. I mentioned their lead receiver, Quentin Johnson, who, is going to the draft. And then you also have Max Duggan, the quarterback, who is going to the draft as well. When I look at TCU, I think that Sonny Dykes showed, and maybe it was one of those Cinderella seasons. Like, maybe it was kind of like a, how do I want to put it? I guess go back to LSU of 2019. The only difference is they did not win the national title. Georgia did, and they went back to back. But you have TCU in a position with the first-year head coach coming into his second season, coming off a national title loss. He wants to show that it wasn't just a one-year thing. I think he's hungry for more. I think that Sonny Dykes wants more, and I think that he can get more. They're going to lose some players, though. They're going to lose Steve Avila, the offensive guard, who's a redshirt senior. He's on pro. You got Amani Bailey going. You got Max Duggan leaving. You got Quentin Johnson going. As far as I know, a key guy that I saw in the playoffs and late in the season step up on defense, the safety Bud Clark. He's a junior. I haven't heard anything on him. But, they have some talent that they could bring back. And it's so um it's going to be so interesting to watch TCU this year. I really believe that because they're not going to go from this national runner up to 5-7. I don't think. Now, could they have another 10-win season? I think the goal is to get 10 wins. I think the goal should be to get 10 wins. Maybe their goal is to get back and actually win the national championship next year. I don't think it's going to happen because I think they do take a couple steps back. But that being said, I mean, what more could you want from TCU this upcoming season other than just get double-digit wins? Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. That being said, we look at their schedule here, and it is kind of rough. I do expect teams to step up in the Big 12. They open with Dion and Colorado. It's at home, and I haven't looked at Colorado yet, so I can't go into this game and say, well, Colorado this or that. I'm not even going to try to do that. I've looked at TCU, and that's about it. Nichols, Colonels, Houston Cougars, SMU Mustangs, the West Virginia Mountaineers, Iowa State, BYU, Kansas State, bye week, at Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, and at Oklahoma. This is going to be fun to watch because I really think their toughest games come late in the year between teams like Baylor, Texas, Oklahoma, at Kansas State. You look at these games and, I think the trap games that they got to be wary of and aware of are Kansas State, Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma. I think between those four teams, those are your trap games. And maybe even at Iowa State, which I haven't looked at them yet, but I expect them to take a step forward. They took a step back, losing Brock Purdy and Breece Hall to the draft. Which Brock Purdy, if you look at what he's doing for the 49ers, I know they're not in the Super Bowl, but hats off to him on an incredible year. Love watching Brock Purdy play, man. Really do. Iowa State for a different day. I'll say this. I think that to expect TCU to really do much this year like they did last year is ridiculous. I mean, they have Colorado, they have Nichols, they have Houston, they have SMU, West Virginia, Iowa State. A couple of these games, they even got BYU on the schedule. This used to be a big rivalry between these two schools. So I think they've met 7 times, and TCU's like 5-2. So they kind of own BYU. And BYU loses Jaron Hall and Puka Nakua, the wide receiver they got to the NFL. But, they have Keaton Slovis coming in from USC and Pitt. And I don't know when BYU's bye week is. That'll be interesting. That's a trap game that should be on the list. It is BYU because we don't know about BYU's schedule yet. We don't. And the Big 12, as of today on January 31st, just released the schedules, and I haven't really dived into all of those yet. But BYU could be a trap game. I apologize for not putting them on the list, but consider that probably a trap. At Kansas State, at Texas Tech, Texas. Texas is one of those games where I have it as a trap. Texas could be favored in that game. It really could. And this could be the final time these teams meet for a very long time before Texas and OU leave for the SEC. So going into the season, we expect Texas to be ranked, probably a favorite to win the Big 12. Even though they had an 8-5 and a bowl loss, it was still improvement under Sarkisian. Quinn Ewers comes back. Arch Manning's on the roster. They lose Bijan Robinson to the NFL. I think they lose Overshawn, the linebacker Overshawn. But again, they're recruiting off the charts right now. And they're building a juggernaut at Texas. I'll slow my roll there. I didn't mean to say juggernaut. You get what I'm saying, though, is that that's a team that is slowly working their way up before they go to the SEC. And we don't know what it's going to look like for OU and Texas this year in their final year in the Big 12. I'll set the record straight here, and I'll say that I got TCU 9-3. 9-3. And I do think they'll lose to Texas. I think it's a trap game with Texas, with Baylor, with Kansas State, with Oklahoma. I think they drop two of those. I'm going to say their losses are at Iowa State, Texas, and then I'm even going to say that last weekend they're going to drop Oklahoma. And maybe TCU has a turnaround and some improvement towards the back half of the season. Maybe they don't. But I know Oklahoma has got to be improving in ways with Brent Venables as their head coach. You have a 5-star Jackson Arnold who's going to compete for the starting job with Dylan Gabriel for quarterback 1. Now, last year, OU got embarrassed, but you got to think the Sooners, like Texas, want to close out their final seasons in the conference before they go to the SEC. They want to close it out strong. And I think that's kind of what these teams are going to do. With that being said, I got 9-3 for TCU. Sorry to say that. I'm not going to, throw them under the bus. I'm not here to put them down. I do like Sonny Dykes. I know what he did in his first year this year. I understand that. But he's got to take a step back, right? With everything he's losing. Max Johnson, Quentin Johnson, Max Duggan. I really just say that? Shoot. God damn. Okay. Anyway, 9-3 for the TCU Horned Frogs in 2023. I love y'all. Jesus loves you. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And until next time, Ballard Sports Media, check it out. More previews to come very, very soon. I love y'all.